Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is Deborah Peters. Glad to have you join me on today's episode of The Deborah Peters Show. And this is a show that's all about consciousness, leading life on the leading edge of thought. How about that one? Consciousness, what's consciousness? It's everything to do with your self-awareness. If you don't have a good relationship with yourself and you're not self-aware, then how can you possibly really take in life in an authentic way? And how can you realize your goals and your dreams if you're not in a good relationship with yourself? So we cover the top 5 topics that will impact you in your lifetime: health, wealth, relationships, business, and self-expression. And an important element of that is your environment. I'm sure you've heard me say time and time again, we become our environment. So I thought, what a great way to explain that than to have today's guest on. And I'm going to introduce him once I find out exactly how to pronounce his name. So tell me that. How do I pronounce your name?
Aryo.
Aryo. I love that. I think that your gift to the world is tremendous. You're a designer, you're an architect, is that correct?
By trade, yes.
By trade, and you've created a lot of amazing living spaces for people. And so we're going to dig into that today, as well as your business environment. And so welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're in North Vancouver or West Vancouver?
In West Vancouver.
Yes, big difference if you're from Vancouver. You know,
Not really.
you know how it's all split up. And so, yeah, kind of my old stomping grounds. I spent about 10 years in Vancouver.
Wow, okay.
Had a lot of clients in West Van and spent a great deal of time on the North Shore. Really loved being able to explore that area. It was definitely a different climate. Even West Vancouver is a different climate from North Vancouver.
Yes.
How long have you been there?
25 years already.
Oh, so you're a local.
Yeah.
I
read your newsletter about your traveling for a month or so.
Yeah, I've been on the road now for a month. I'm on a nationwide speaking tour. Doing
awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's been incredible for so many reasons.
And the cultures that you were talking about, all different cultures in the same country. Wow.
Yeah, well, I'm currently in the South, and it feels like a different country than California. Not good or bad, just different. I love that part. And that's what's been so phenomenal about this is just exploring new environments and meeting new people. And anytime we can shake up our comfort zone, get into a new space.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yes.
I mean, you know, as human beings, and I know that this is going to be something that you can really speak to, we get attached to our environment, and that's why it's called a comfort zone. And even if it's not a happy one or a productive one, we still get attached to it. So even if it is happy and it is productive, doesn't mean it can't be better. And I think that there's tremendous value in stepping beyond what we know so that we let go of attachments to things having to be a certain way. And it enables us to embrace different points of view, to have an understanding that people live their lives based on how they see themselves. And from that perspective, we can have compassion and we can have sort of a sense of reverence and humility for what other people are going through. So when you're working with a client, what do you change first? Like, what's the first thing you look at?
If you don't mind, I'm going to go back to one of the points that you mentioned about comfort zone. See, our brains are set up to get routine in a day-to-day routines, and that day-to-day routine makes our mind lazy, because we like to do things over and over and over. And
We
as a
do.
result, if that habit that we're repeating, it's a habit that it's for our mental and physical health, that's perfectly fine. But not always happens like that, because we are reflective of the environment around us, and the culture around us, the society we live in, and the habits that the society and the media is bombarding us, and then we are following the same thing over and over. When
True.
we become lazy in our mind, our brain doesn't get as active as anymore, and then that become our paradigm. If you're doing everything the same over and over, and they're not in our benefit, we're just repeating over and over. It's like the same thing as you don't use your muscles properly. After a while, you become lazy, and you don't use the full benefits of your muscles. The same thing your brain. If
Yeah,
your
your mind.
mind, you don't do go over above your comfort zone, then eventually the disease gonna start, starting from your mind. All diseases start from your mind. And
Absolutely. It's a mental, emotional, vibrational process. And it's really got what got me out the door, I would say, to do this speaking tour. There's a few things, but the biggest thing that I was noticing is that I was really comfortable. And with that comfort, I noticed my expectations were starting to downgrade. And I've always been one to fight that off, and to not let that take over. So I am aware of it, which is probably my saving grace, if you will, because a lot of people aren't aware of it until 20, 30 years have passed over, right? But I like a certain amount of routine because it helps me focus on what outcomes I want. But when the routine becomes a prison, because I don't think beyond the routine, and I think this everyone needs to look at that. Wouldn't you agree? It's
exactly, exactly,
right. Yeah.
exactly. So to your question, that what I need from my clients is, first of all, um, I don't like to design a full a quarter for people that just live in like a shelter. I like to help my clients to achieve a better version of themselves. And by that is, first you got to learn about your own goals. What you want to, how you want to become better. And for example, let's say an athlete, a swimmer, for example, hires a coach, wants to say, you know what, I want to be number one swimmer in the country,
Right.
for example. If you're a business person, I ask you, what do you want to be in your business? What is your goal? And then, if that person has a goal in his business, that would be perfect. If not, then you're going to start from scratch. You got to start a goal for yourself. And then from there, I have to show that reflection of your goal, reflection of your achievement in the environment that you live in. So every morning that you wake up from the bed, and you see, oh, this is how I'm gonna be. This is how I want to be. So for me, designing a place is not just choosing colors. I want to inspire my clients to get up in the morning and run for the better version of themselves, for their personal life, for their business life. It's a better improvement of themselves.
I totally agree with you, and I have a personal experience on that. So, um, one of the homes I lived in for a while, and I want you to talk about this because I'm not sure very many people are this aware, but I'm really sensitive to energy. And a home I lived in for a while, even though it was beautiful. I mean, I had marble countertops, I had marble floors, I had beautiful carpeting, I had crown moldings, I had a view of the ocean, I had everything. I even had a park across the street, so there was no houses in front of me. But when I got up in the morning and throughout the day, and I worked from home, as I typically do, have for years, there was this energy that just like drained me.
Wow.
And I knew I couldn't stay there long term because first of all, I didn't feel intellectually stimulated. And it was of no fault of the rest of my environment because my clients are sharp minded, my friends are witty and bright and ambitious. It wasn't that. There was something happening energetically in that house that just made me feel apathetic. And I was always cold. Like it was middle of spring and summer, and I would have the fireplace going in the living room. So what do you say to clients that are in an environment like that? Things aren't clicking for them, but they don't know how to connect the dots between the lack of results and their environment.
See, first of all, I come across with many clients who have a whole lot of money and they think money can buy happiness, but it's not true, because otherwise, all people who live in mansions, they would be happy, but there are many times that happen that is not correct. At the same time, people who do not have enough money and they live in a condo, in an apartment, or in a small place, they feel happier. And
Sure.
why is like that? Is first of all, is just as I mentioned earlier, to know yourself first. How I can expect from myself. What
But
is
let me just jump in there because I'm really serious. I'm serious about this. The energy of that house was dragging me down. Have you had clients that have had those experiences, and what have you done to shift that?
Depends on what you're talking about. So I practice feng shui. I practice some other ancient philosophy as well. But what I do a tweak on that, I try to understand the logic behind that. What is the physical logic behind that? I don't like to follow feng shui because of they say.
Right.
Because there are many times that, as a matter of fact, feng shui has many different versions as well. Everybody who's a feng shui master, they have their own opinion.
Right.
I try to find the logic and physics behind that. For example, let's say why they say, okay, when you have the front door, you don't have the back door right across to it. There's a physical and economic logic behind that. And there are other there are some people say your toilet should not be in a west wall or this kind of thing. But what other logic is this, that we all live in an environment that we are subject to some elements,
Sure.
some elements that we don't see. One of them, for example, is magnet, the earth magnet.
Yeah.
And this earth magnet is always affecting on us. And you know that our brain uses electromagnetic fields.
Of course.
And we know that we have a lot of waves all around us. Some of them that we don't even, many of them we don't know. I mean, we just know a small amount of that we have knowledge of. So it's very hard to know what conditions you live on in that house that it had effect. But I believe on four elements that has a major effect on our day-to-day life: sound, air, light, and colors, and the objects. So what I first get into a design for a client, of course, when I can do a whole lot on the earth magnet, but what I suggest is to keep your bed to the direction of northwest, no, I'm sorry, north-south,
Okay.
which helps your aligning to the Earth
That's a good point.
magnet direction. But for example, for sunlight, personally, I love sunlight, but some people don't like sunlight in their bedrooms.
See, I think that was the
How we can
issue. I think
adjust
that was
that?
the issue. I had no real natural sunlight really at all. I mean, it kind of missed, like it was indirect, and I like to have sunbeams, the real sunbeam, like where I can stand in it and I can feel the warmth of the sun coming through the window. And I think that's really what it was. There was this lack of direct sunlight. And sunlight can be very cleansing. It can be very energizing. It can lift your mood. We all know this, like get outside in the sun, get your vitamin D for the day, which I did. I did lots of walks just for that purpose. But there was something else going on there. And I believe that it was just the energy of the house. The owners were not nice people. They were a lot of things. Let's just sum it up to say, and they just were not good, ethical people. And then, some of it, I suppose, might have been the people that lived there before. But if I would have had my way, I would have definitely painted it, and I would have given it some bright colors, and I would have changed out the furniture. And the problem was, it was all warm. For me, I'm into cool colors these days, and it was all these warm brown colors. And so switching it out to my preferential cool colors it wouldn't have looked right, So I just made a decision to hit the road and do a speaking tour and just have new experiences. But not everybody has the luxury of doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
So what are some of the things you've done for a client where you've improved their environment and it helped them live a better life?
Let me get back a little bit further backward to what you mentioned. So imagine you are sitting in that room all day long, in the same room for many days. And let's say you have negative thoughts. What are the negative thoughts is, oh, the world is collapsing, the economy is collapsing, the healthcare is collapsing, the government is collapsing, everything is bad. These are all negative thoughts, right? What are this energy in your head? It's all energy of negativity. Where this electromagnetic energy goes, it's just flowing around of us, right? And if there is of course, drywall and wall are not blocking the energy move on, but it can stop it. And you're living in this capsule of a room that is full of negativity. Somebody is died thousands of kilometers away, and you're mourning for that, or the same thing over and over and over. And then every time you come to the colors and the air and the sunlight is not there as well. So that room become the soak of energy for yourself.
Sure.
So what I suggest is, first of all, why I add air quality in that. The same way you drink water, air is more of our contents of our body than anything else. So we really need a quality air. Unfortunately, quality air is not as easy to achieve as much as it used to be, because the environment around you that you live right now is a lot of artificial product that is made of petroleum, and many of them are producing gases that we don't see, and they are killing us. So
that's why I make a point of always getting natural fibers in my wardrobe, in my environment. I'm not a fan of synthetics. It's like I just like natural cottons and things that come truly come from Mother Nature. They're not some fabricated. Personally, I think that plastic was a design flaw. It was something that was invented for during the war,
Yep.
and then they had to do something with the manufacturers of that plastic after the war, and it seemed to take over the marketplace, and now
Yep.
it's like you're hard pressed to find anything
So
that's
having
not
having a good
plastic.
ventilated room, it really helps. If you don't have a proper ventilation system, open the windows, open the door. Let's
Yes.
make the draft. Have this air, this negative energy move up, move on. Let's just
Yeah.
start with a new mindset and have your energy, your positive energy, your positive thoughts fill the air instead of having the negativity and sitting there.
What do you think about numerology? Because what's interesting to me is that place deduced down to a 9. Now we know that a 9 is the end of the cycle and a 1 is the beginning. And I really felt when I first moved in there that I made a mental note that, hey, this deduces down to a 9. So there's going to be some completions here, like the end of a cycle in my life and my attitude and even my spiritual understanding. I mean, I completed a level of that. And then when the day I made the decision to do this nationwide speaking tour was the day the new cycle began. It wasn't the day that I packed up and left, weeks later. I believe that the day we make a decision on something is the day that the new energy begins. So do you have any experience with numerology and how that impacts our environment?
I do, but at the same time, I don't want to hook on one philosophy because there's so many different
No, but it's
philosophies.
a contributor. It's not just hooking onto one. I'm just curious about that as a contributing factor.
So what I have to switch that to another type of mindset, which is Ho'oponopono. I don't know if you've heard of that. That there's a Hawaiian philosophy that they take all the negativity and put a positive point in it. You don't have to think. If you think even see something that is not in your preference or your best wish, just you don't think about the negativity part of it. Just say,
Right.
okay, put how I can make that as a positive point. And
Always. What's the blessing in this? What's the opportunity in this?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
So give me an example of something you've changed in someone's home or office that's helped them.
especially after COVID, I did a lot. I mean, as a matter of fact, if you ever had a chance to read my book, I had several experiences in that book that they explained how, especially people who are in like baby boomers, people who um, uh, they're kind of feeling losing purpose of life. They don't have that interest because they're not working anymore. They don't feel okay. Their time is used properly anymore, or their kids are growing up and they become empty nesters and they feel
Well,
that
you have to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, or your life becomes meaningless.
exactly.
So, what's
Exactly.
something that you've actually done that's created a shift?
The point is, a lot of time, including myself, we get engaged to duties that we forget about our own life. We forget about our own hobbies. We forget about, what was my joy when I was younger. We got to bring that teenage feeling. We get to bring back on that excitement back to our life. And this is we get to feel that the 60s is another 16s when we were so joyful in our life. We get to bring that emotion back to our life and feel young again.
So right. Well, I understand. I'm looking for an example of what you've done. So it would help the listeners get a sense of what they could change.
Like, sorry, for example, connecting to example and my work. A client that I had, he wanted to build. He had a couple of bikes. motorbikes, the big ones,
Mm.
and he wanted to build a garage for it, and he couldn't build it because the municipality, they say you cannot
Right.
have this and that, and he was almost about to sell his bikes and move on to other things, but by searching around the the tricks that you can find in municipalities, how I can uh, deal with different numbers in terms of the floor area calculation, all that kind of things, and we end up to grant that garage that he always was looking for, to build that garage just for his motorbikes. He just wanted to have a good space for his because it was his hobby.
Of course.
It was making him happy. It was making him his identity.
Of
So
course.
and not having that garage, so I didn't do a whole lot on that. All I did is I resurfaced or researched enough to see what flaws I can find with this municipality's bylaws, that I can uh, get that building done for it, and that was it.
Nice.
I didn't do a magic for him. He
But
had
that's
all the
huge.
desire. I
Yeah.
just made that desire possible for him.
God bless you. That's, yeah, if you know, it's the small things that are the big things in our lives, right? That was
Emotionally,
his,
what are
that's
the other
important
things
to
that I
him.
did emotionally was, like, for example, other clients that who want to have their mom to live with them because they want to the grandma to grow raise their kids. So this is other things that I help my clients with. Again, when you read the book, you can listen all the or read all the stories about that.
Yeah, and you know, that's a perfect segue in closing. Tell us about your book and where we can buy it. What's the name of it?
Beyond Ages, as
Beyond
smooth
Ages. I'm
transition
going
to
to put this in
independent
the
living.
chat. Beyond Ages.
A smooth
And where can they get it?
This is available in Amazon, but in the direct website would be beyond-ages.com.
Okay, let me put this in the comments. Beyond
I have audiobook
beyondages.com or
beyond,
beyond dash ages.
beyond-ages.com.
Brilliant. That's fascinating.
Yes, I
Really
have
fascinating.
hard copy as well as audiobook.
Good, because a lot of people are commuting. Well, maybe not as much as 22
I have it
years
in
ago.
Spanish as well, if somebody wants to buy it in Spanish.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. Now you're an international bestseller.
Yeah.
So I know you've got a nice freebie for people to be able to start to get their mind around how their environment affects their success and their reality and their happiness. Where would they find that?
Actually, what it is about how, let's say, if you decide to make a move and change the environment, and you want to do some renovations, and you always have that fear, okay, where I'm going to start from, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to start, how I'm going to hire somebody, what I'm going to face, what is the hurdles I'm going to face. So I created a handbook of, let's say, they call it project optimization pack, that is that you can find it in my website. You just click on that, and there's a links that takes you to. I don't have the hard copy. Let me see.
What's the name of it again?
Project planning pack.
Project
I'm
planning
sorry.
pack.
No, it's actually project optimization pack.
Pack, PACK.
Yes.
Project optimization pack.
It
Perfect.
can be found in my website, which is myhomedesigner.com.
Homedesigner.com.
My
Awesome.
myhomedesigner.com.
Myhomedesigner.com. That's fantastic. Really good. Well, everybody listening, you guys need to get Aryo's book. You absolutely have to have that. And you've got to go to his website, myhomedesigner.com, and get that download. I'm sure it's going to help you immensely. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. Absolutely. And, you know, environment is everything. It's, we either create our environment or our environment creates us. So good idea to get ahead of it. Follow.
There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about.
Know.
Half an hour is not really enough, but
always. I know. So take this to heart and follow Aryo's advice. I mean, he knows what he's talking about. He's been designing homes forever. And get over to his website. Give your website one more time.
myhomedesigner.com.
Perfect. And the name of the book once more?
Beyond Ages. Actually, if you go to myhomedesigner.com, there's a link on top as well. That is easier to find everything you want.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so much for being here today. I really
It was very nice
appreciate
meeting you again.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, everybody, stay aligned, stay awake, and stay alert. There's a lot going on in the world. I'll talk to you soon.